I'm going to start with this little video. This is about 2 minutes. This little girl is named Annie Clark, and she just won the special award in penmanship.
Handwriting contest, which is called the Nicholas Maxim Special Award for Excellence in Penmanship. And we have 2 divisions. One is manuscript and one is cursive. And Annie Clark has won manuscript division championship.
She wrote Annie Clark and April. Watch how she erases. And she's not happy with what she wrote. She was born without hands. She's saying that she likes to write neatly, and that she feels, like she could write a book. She hasn't decided what to write about yet.
Non-fiction or fiction?
She's going to write both. That's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Yes.
And she was given an award, the Nicholas, and we'll see his name in a minute. I can't remember his name. It was a special award given by Zaner Blosser, who are the people who do, there was Palmer, now there's Zaner Blosser. They create a copybook. And a few months ago in Washington, D.C., they held a handwriting summit and spoke about what's going on in the schools with handwriting. That is, 48 states have now removed cursive writing from the core curriculum as a requirement. Schools can teach it if they want to, but they don't have to. And I can't tell you which of the 2 states are the ones that haven't adopted that core curriculum, but 48 have. What's the problem with not teaching cursive? And in fact, they are barely even teaching printing now. So they're saying that it's a budgetary problem, partly, but also because of the use of keyboards. But what happens with cursive writing when children learn the specific writing movements, the fine motor movements that are taught in handwriting exercises, it actually improves their concentration, their self-control, their behavior, and this is proven research. They interact with other people better, their reading comprehension is higher, and it helps with learning disorders such as ADD, ADHD, and others. Cursive writing produces changes in the brain. And this is a quote from somebody named Rand Nelson, who is a researcher. And this cursive writing produces changes that lead to reading fluency and language fluency. Dr. David Sortino says it stimulates brain synchronicity. And this Virginia Berninger, I don't know, from the University of Washington, says sequential finger movements activate brain regions involved in thinking, language, and working memory. So this is important stuff. If they're not getting these specific, this development done by these specific hand movements, they're missing out on all this. Cursive writing increases neural activity and learning. It's faster than printing because obviously in printing you're making individual words, letters, you're picking up the pen, whereas in cursive you're joining, you can go faster. Kids with learning disabilities produce better written outcomes using cursive because there's less disruption in the learning process. And a colleague of ours, Jeanette Farmer, in Denver, has over a period of time developed has developed a system that is very similar to this, to the Palmer method or the Zahner-Blosser, that are, they do the running ovals and the push-pulls and all of these various exercises, and they do them to a specific kind of music that was developed by a music therapist. And what they found is that these improve the children's thinking, behavior, and learning. And at the bottom here is one of the exercises in the system. And I had them on the other pages too. This is the handwriting of Annie Clark on the bottom, and Nicholas Maxim. That's the young man who they named the special prize for. And that's his writing, and he too was born without arms. So if children without arms can write this well, then children with arms should be able to do at least as well. Now, what can you do? This is another one of the exercises too, done to music. And you don't have to be a child to do these things. You don't have to be learning to write. You can do them. It's called graphotherapy. And I have a manual that I put together and have some classical music pieces. I put clips in it because obviously the music is copyrighted, but gives you clips to give you an idea of what music to get to do with these exercises. And you'll find that it helps you. When I'm writing a book and I'm stuck, if I'm writing a scene and I'm not sure where I want to go, I'll stop and do some of these exercises and do them to music, and it really helps. It balances the left and right brain and helps. So there is something that all of you can do to help this effort to get cursive back in the schools. You can help us spread the word. You can write letters. You can ask teachers to write letters and include their observations of what happens to students who are not learning cursive and how they fall behind. In these letters you should be succinct, and then we'd like you to let us know the results if you get any responses. And you can post your comments because we have a blog for this purpose called campaignforcursive.blogspot.com. Now we're going to make it even easier. Writing letters, what we'd like to do is to ask everybody to write letters during a 2-week period, and I picked July 5th to the 20th for maximum impact, because that way they'll get a bunch of letters at the same time. You can add your own unique perspective, and if you write letters every 2 weeks, over time this will be effective, and we can write to school boards, legislators, state and federal, superintendents of schools, and teachers. And to make it even easier, we've put together some of the addresses for you for the state, for the U.S. Department of Education, State Superintendent, the Ventura County Superintendent, and Harry Reid. And I will be happy to email this presentation to anybody who would like to have it. And you can, you'll have it to refer to. And we even put together a template letter, which I don't think you can see it here. I'll read it to you. This was written by Kathleen Dickinson, who is a member of our chapter, but she lives in Las Vegas, and her boyfriend broke his leg, and she couldn't be here today, so she sent this. So you just imagine putting in your own information. She says, "Dear Secretary Duncan, in our age of technology, we may forget the importance of basics to our students and to our culture. You may not be aware that many schools are no longer teaching cursive writing. They believe because we use computers that cursive is no longer needed. Teachers whom I have talked with recently have told me that students are no longer able to read source documents because they have not learned cursive writing. This means that they will not be able to read letters or documents that were handwritten in previous times. Cursive writing has also been documented to have positive impact on brain development. It has been shown to reduce attention deficit disorder. As a member of the American Handwriting Analysis Foundation and the International Graphoanalysis Society, I strongly urge Congress and the Department of Education to ensure that cursive writing is again taught in the United States elementary schools. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact me at, put your information.
And why aren't they teaching it in the schools?
Because budgetary concerns, and because they think that because of keyboarding on computers, texting and so on, that it's no longer necessary. Now what happens if there is a big power outage for a week? Let's say we have a huge earthquake, God forbid, and we have no power and our cell phone batteries die, and how do we communicate? Or if somebody calls you on the phone and says, you know, take this message, don't you pick up a pen? And hopefully kids will too. But this is really important, what Kathleen wrote, that their children are unable to read letters or documents that were handwritten in previous times. Previous times is within our lifetime. We're not talking about historic documents. We're talking about letters from grandma 20 years ago. This is affecting our children. The increase in ADD and ADHD and other learning disorders can be at least partly, the increase in that can be partly tied to problems with not teaching handwriting in schools over a long period of time. And behavior problems can be tied to this. There have been schools where where Jeanette Farmer's program has been introduced, and over a period of even 2 weeks, children's behavior has improved. I mean, we're talking about behavior problems. So I hope that this will impel you to join our campaign for cursive. And my email address, I'll be happy to give anybody my card, but my email address is sheila@sheilalowe.com, SHEILALOWE. And just send me an email and I will happily send you back this presentation.